Hey everyone, just a quick vid about how we use solar taxonomy to assess the key competencies in junior physical education at Hedetone College. So these are our marking rubric that we came up with using Pam Hook's two books that she has. So you can purchase those on her website and get them in a digital copy. And she breaks down all the key competencies in there. So we got the book and we went through and modified what she had to fit into what we wanted and to fit our clientele and what we felt was important. So if I zoom in a wee bit, we've got the 5 different levels of solar taxonomy across the top. And we've broken it down, as I say, into each of the KCs. So these are the things that we're wanting the students to be able to exhibit and then to be able to reflect upon. So for using language, symbols, and text, we break this into the use of ICT in particular and their completion of these reflections that I'll go over in a second, and telling us about how they actually help them to learn and to be better learners both inside the classroom and outside the classroom. For thinking, that's broken down into the use of solar taxonomy as a ladder of success, if you like, and understanding solar and how that helps them to learn both in and outside the classroom, as well as the content that they're learning in the class. For managing self, we're looking at them to be able to exhibit the bringing of their equipment, whether it's PE gear or their devices, as well as their ability to follow and listen to instructions and how that helps them to learn in and outside the classroom. Relating to others is obviously quite self-explanatory, as is participating and contributing, but it's all sort of explained across the board here. So, for example, for relating to others, if they are a 1 or they're in the pre-structural phase of solar taxonomy, then they have no idea how to interact with others, and therefore they don't, so they don't even exhibit that. If they are in a unistructural level, then they can interact with others and be an effective member. And if they are a multi-structural, then they can interact with others and they can also be an effective member within all of the time, basically. So this is 1 or 2 things, this is multiple things. Then if they can then relate that to how they learn through these reflections within the classroom, they can justify it and back it up with examples, then they can get a 4. And if they can then tell me how it's going to help them outside of the classroom in the big wide world or in other classes, etc., then they can get into the extended abstract zone and get a 5. So same sort of thing across all 5 of them. We're wanting them to be able to exhibit them in order to pretty much get a 3, and then to be able to reflect on them and how they affect their learning in the classroom to get a 4, and then to be able to reflect further and how it's going to help them outside of the classroom and other aspects of their life in order to get a 5. So this document will be shared as well, and we go through and we moderate this as well with other members of the department, just to make sure that we're all on the same board. The way we assess it is to send them this document on Google Classroom. Okay, actually I'll go to blank one. So this is the blank one that we send them on Google Classroom. This one was for term 2. Again, this will be shared. So they get this at the start of the term, and then they just need to go through and fill it out, basically, at their own pace. We might give them some in-class time, very rarely, or we might give them just a low-key sort of 5 or 10 minutes at the end of a spell. But we're wanting them to give us 2 or 3 examples about how they've used this key competency, how it's affected their progress in PE, and how it can help them outside of PE. So a few little reminder questions there. And then over here, we want them to give us some evidence. So a lot of kids will chuck in a few photos of them putting their PE gear in their bag or their device in their bag, or photos of them relating to other people, working as a team, etc. And it's quite handy. Students who don't have gear or students who are injured, quite often we'll get them to be the paparazzi, and they will take photos of the class, and then they'll upload them onto Google Drive, onto the shared drive, and then the students can scroll through and they can find examples of themselves doing these things as well to use and to put into these boxes. Quite often they'll just give examples in these boxes here as well. So this document has hyperlinks in it, so they can click on that hyperlink there, and it goes to our YouTube channel with one of the staff explaining to them about how to use language, symbols, and text, and giving them a few bits and pieces. There he is. the state of him. So that's the same for each of those. So a quick example, if I was to go to Gihan, is quite an on-to-it lad. So he's again explaining, he's exhibited already in class, and now he's explaining how it's going to help him. And again, he's doing this all term. He's giving me examples from our content as well, and yeah, telling me about how it's going to help him inside the classroom and outside the classroom. So that's the year 9 setup. That's cream of the crop. That's all 5s. Alan is year 10. Same sort of thing. Obviously, we're looking for more depth, more detail, more critical analysis as well, and we want them to be operating at a slightly higher level of the curriculum. Now, this is forever changing for us. We've been trialing and error lots of different things and seeing if they work or not. Some classes will ask them and scaffold it and give them a little bit more help with the questions. Other classes have been trialing the use of just doing it in like a video as well, and collecting it from just one-to-one chats with the teacher if the student isn't as good at writing and the likes. So the good thing is that they can obviously ask for feedback as they go through, and because they've got the whole term to do it, then we are expecting a fair bit of quality to come out of it. So that's how we're assessing the use of key competencies. We're obviously doing formative assessment as well as they go through for each of the units. But each of those, we also use solo taxonomy. So we'll make with the class, we'll make a criteria. Say we're talking about projectile motion. With the class, we'll come up with a marking criteria for projectile motion. They'll have to come up with what a pre-structural knowledge of projectile motion looks like, right down to extended abstract, and then that's always present up on the board as we're going through those units, and then they move themselves up and down, basically knowing what they need to do to move up in their knowledge of each of those areas of content. So if you have any other questions, then give us a yell. Send us an email or do whatever you need to do to get in touch. Awesome. Thank you.